Welcome back to our show, our Sweet Home Africa. Once again, my name is Mrs. Augustina Anyanwu, and help me welcome my friend, Mrs.
Glorynezemma. Welcome back to our Sweet Home Africa. It's always a pleasure to have you as our viewer. Alright, so we have a great topic today. Okay. Alright, we told you that we will be pleading with every profession so that people can go back to rebuild Africa. So today we are pleading to our nurses. So our topic today is a plea to African nurses.
Alright.
We have African nurses all over the world. We have them in Europe, we have them in Canada, we have them in America, everywhere. And they are highly qualified nurses.
Yes.
And they're doing great all over the place. You know, I applaud all the African nurses that are scattered all over the world. You know, you are all doing wonderful jobs wherever you are. Okay, so now it's time for us to head home and take some of the knowledge that we have acquired back to our people to transform our healthcare system. So that's why my friend and I were here today to, you know, plead with you, like I said, and then give you a little insight on things that need to be changed where we come from. And like we said, we grew up there, so we know about our healthcare system and everything. So we'll share some of the stories of things that we know in terms of healthcare and what nurses can do. You have so much to do in Africa. So we'll let you know some of the things that you need to do to help our people back home. And you know, we applaud the African nurses that are really living in Africa too. So this is just to bridge the gap between the nurses in Africa and the nurses in diaspora, so that we can all come together as a team to build very great healthcare system in Africa. So go ahead, my friend. Do you know some nurses in diaspora?
I sure do.
You know so many.
I sure do
That's
know
true.
nurses in diaspora and those back, some of them back in Africa. And as my friend just stated, you do a great job, because caring for somebody else is not a joke. Because when somebody is sick, they are like grouchy, because I know when I'm sick, you cannot come close to me because I'll be completely a different person.
That's true.
So, as all of you know, my friend is a nurse, and this time the ball is on her court, in the sense that we're pleading with them. Get yourselves together. I know some nurses here have an association, so that make it much easier. So get in touch with your friends. Have a meeting, whatever, any little thing count, because so long as it's something towards improving the lifestyle of people, especially the sick ones, to improve the quality of health of people and the quality of care given to them, because all of you work in a direct contact with the patient.
With the patients, exactly.
Doctors can prescribe medication, doctors can perform surgery, doctors can do anything. But it's the nurses on a daily, regular basis that we're going to ask, we're going to see, how is my mother doing? Sometimes it's so frustrating, because we know you work long hours, you stand on your feet, we know all that. But we have to have at the back of our mind that these people laying down there, it's not easy for them. They do not know if they're going to make it, they're going to go back home, they're going to see their family members, and whatnot. And when we talk about nurses, it's different. You know, some nurses work directly with the patient, some work in with the surgeon, and some of them,
and
you
midwives.
know, midwives taking care of the pregnant woman to make sure that the baby come to this world healthy. You know, and some of them work in ICUs. Intensive care, right? That's what they call it. So it's not an easy thing to do. But all said and done, our life depends, especially when we are sick. It depends on the nurses. My dear, as I said, we depend on all of you. Now, help me talk to your fellow nurses.
Thank you.
And see what you can do so that we can have a quality, you know, health care. in Africa.
Okay, thank you so much, my friend. You know, it's a pleasure actually to
be a nurse.
To be a nurse, actually. Growing up in Africa, you know, I will share a little story and then I will drive the point, you know, drive it a little bit deeper.
Okay.
I grew up in Africa, and my mother was a nurse before she passed away.
Okay.
So she worked in so many hospitals, and I grew up actually working with her because whenever she's making rounds in the hospital, she would take me. Exactly, she would take me there. So I have first-hand information in terms of healthcare in Nigeria.
Okay.
Or any other. I mean, in Nigeria is where I grew up. So what my own area. And I know that all nurses in diaspora were all doing great in terms of, you know, providing care to our patients here. But the difference that I've seen between the nursing in Africa and the nursing in diaspora is the caring and compassion.
Oh, okay.
So that's where I'm going to zero, the caring and compassion. In diaspora, the nurses here are very compassionate. And it's not that they are kinder than the ones in Africa. But the only thing is that here, you're taught to make the patient a priority. You're taught to be very compassionate. You're taught to be caring. So it's not just doing it as a profession, but you have to show that compassion. When they're sick, just like you said, you give them medicine, but you care about them emotionally. So what I have seen that is a little different in Africa. Growing up, like I said, I mean, I was in the hospital all the time, even as a child. I used to run around in the hospital with my mom there, walking. I noticed that a lot of nurses in Africa are not compassionate. So they do it as a job. But the only thing is, if someone is sick, let's say you're sick, and I have to come to give you medicine. And I'm looking at you, I said, open your mouth, and you don't open your mouth. Sometimes I can slap you.
Slap the demon out of.
I said, open your mouth or I will slap you. And then I'm looking, I said, this is a sick person. And this person needs caring. And now you're going to slap them. And then the pregnant women, I'm sorry to even bring this to the limelight, but these are things that we need to change. In terms of bridging gap. Because you see, nursing is different. We talked about Nightingale and everything, and people that went into the profession, many went in because of the money. So they don't have the compassion. Even in the hospital, sometimes when I'm doing staff evaluation, I tell them, you know, sometimes the staff, I will go to the staff and say, you are a nurse. A nurse means you have compassion. And then I go to another person, I said, you are a staff. A staff means you're doing the job, but your mind is not there. The caring aspect of it is not there. So with the pregnant women that I have seen in Africa, what they do sometimes, even when they are in labor, they're trying to push. So instead of even being kind and tell them, you know, I know you're hurting, but you know, keep on pushing. They slapped them and they said, you better push out the baby right now.
Kill that baby.
Before you kill the baby.
It's not funny.
Exactly.
It's not funny though. Because
and they're like, you know, you have to push. So they're screaming at them, and I'm like, this is someone that is struggling, that is in labor, in severe pain. And then you are even superimposing more pain on the person. So that's the aspect that I really wanted to zero on. That I mean, as much as, you know, we're doing our our job, we're professionals, you're doing this, but like I said, please, let's bring the caring aspect into this profession in Africa and the compassion. That's where I wanted to talk about. Go ahead if you have.
My dear, I sure do have an input to do to what you brought up about the compassion and the caring. When we put the nurses here, you know, compare them to back home, I know all of them are giving care to the sick. When it comes to that, over here, first of all, they teach you that in school. You go, you do it, you pass your exam, you do what you need to do, but you have supervisors watching you that do not compromise. You know, you bring them mai and the goosey or any other kind of thing every time. Over there, everybody is watching everybody. I mean, over here, everybody is watching everybody. Because whatever you do, you're responsible for it, and it's on your license. So but in Africa, I don't know, I'm not a nurse. Don't misunderstand me. I never worked there as a nurse, but I know I have brothers that have been in the hospital. You know, the hostile environment alone will not even let you ask questions.
Exactly.
Because when you get there, even those by the window, to ask them a question, there's no smile, nothing. They were just like, the way they will talk to you, you were just like, they completely strip you of your self-esteem.
They belittle you.
They strip you of your self-esteem. And then the question is why? Why are you in the profession if you know you cannot represent? If you're not in a caring, if you don't know how to care for somebody. Sometimes, you know, people take their home problem to work. So when they are, and they sometimes maybe they didn't get paid. You know, they pay them every month.
Okay.
Over here, we get paid, you know, bi-weekly. So sometimes they pay them every month. Maybe somebody is going through something, but regardless what you're going through at home, they make it a home thing. Come in, take care of what? The patient that you're supposed to take care of, because they depend on you. They look at you as the next God they have, because you have the medication. You don't have business healing anybody, because maybe a word of encouragement can even make them come back to life.
That's true.
Then for the family members that bring them, you do not treat them as if, even if they aren't on the floor, you don't do that, because they're grieving for their loved one. They don't know the next day what you're going to tell them. And based on that, they need to, you know, I don't know if they go to workshops. Do they go?
Actually, that's the area.
Yeah, because no matter, some of them been, you know, been out of school for a long time.
Exactly.
And they keep on practicing. Every day they're going to work. They go to work, they have home issues. But once you put them in a classroom, they share ideas, even with the young blood coming out, or somebody else completely they don't know, you know. Give them that workshop, you have meetings, and you let them know, whoever is in charge of the hospital have to decide how people are being treated. Exactly. You know why? You tell them, this is what I want, I've been getting complaints, and you'll be ready to hear people. Make a complaint, tell you what they're going through. Because you cannot make it, especially the private hospitals. When you get there, once the doctor is not there, no other person cares for nobody. So we have to make it better. We have to make it better for the sick and the family members and for yourself. Because it takes a whole lot to be angry and walk around the whole day like an angry bee. So you cannot be doing that. It's a caring profession. You just have to do it, because people depend on you, my dear. So you know, dig back in on the workshop.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit more about
the workshop. Actually,
yes.
as one of the areas that I really want our nurses to focus. And I thank all the nurses that are part of the medical missions that they're doing in Africa. And then the nurses that have unions here, I really applaud you for what you're doing. I know some of us are not members, but it doesn't mean it's almost, I call it a calling, even like a giving back to community or any charity work is a calling. So it depends on, you know, whatever your calling is. And it doesn't mean that the ones that are not part of it do not appreciate what you're doing.
We appreciate you.
Exactly. I encourage a lot of nurses. I mean, if you can join the organizations, join. If you're not part of, you know, an organization, because like I said, there's some people that do not like to be part of an organization. It doesn't mean that they are not good or anything, but this is what they want to do. If you can donate to help other organizations, that will be good, even if you're not a member. But in terms of workshop that my friend brought up, which is very important, that's why, I mean, like I said, this is a show that we try to bridge gap between people in diaspora and the ones in Africa. So we can run workshops when we go and teach what is called therapeutic communication, because that's where the gap is.
Okay.
We're providing care, we're doing everything, but that therapeutic communication is very important, because that's where the caring and the compassion will kick in, like I just said. So we go home, you know, have workshops with the nurses that are there. They have the training, they have the education, but we have to teach them to know how to talk to patients. Because like my friend said, these are people that are hurting already. They're going through crisis in their life. So it's not a time to even subject them to more crisis.
That's right.
So it's a time to be very kind to them. So we go home, teach them that, Because, and then actually it will make a lot of people become nurses in Africa, because they will see how you carry yourself and how you approach patients and everything. It will be enticing. And like I said, when all of these are, you know, done and gone, I mean, the crisis that the whole world is facing now, I think the healthcare system will be transformed. So many of us will be heading home to maybe head those hospitals. So it's good to put policies in place and know that people are doing the right thing. When they're not doing the right thing, you either retrain them or you fire them. That's
the word.
Exactly. That means they're not meant to be nurses. And you know, actually, I plead with our young ones, both young men and young women. There's so many areas in life that somebody can go into, and so many professions that people can go into.
You're right.
If you know that you cannot handle these parts, especially being a nurse, it's not easy. So if you know that this is not a part that you can handle, don't go in just because of the money. Because one, you will frustrate yourself.
That's all.
You will frustrate the patients. You will frustrate even your family, because when you come home, you're tired, you're angry because it's not what you want to do. It's all right to do something else. Don't go because your friend is a nurse and because of it you want to be a nurse. Don't go because your friend just bought a house because she's a nurse. You want to buy a house. Find what your calling is. And when you're there, you will do it well, and then it will benefit the people that you are also serving in that area. So that's what I wanted to say.
Right there.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's excellent. I have not heard about this therapeutic workshop before, because sometimes what comes out of our mouth makes an imprint in the receiver's, you know, life. Because this, as we know, is mouth God used to create the word. You can tell somebody a word that is like a dagger. You belittle them so much that they don't even know why they are there. So our nurses, please, whatever it takes, I know it takes a lot from you, a lot of energy, a lot of standing, like I said, a lot of going from one person's room to another. That's the calling. That's what the job is all about, is helping the sick. Make them get better. Do your best. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing or not doing. Be yourself, do yourself. Do it yourself. And make sure that at the end of the day, you get home, you're happy. You will say, at least I did it. And the family members, when they come, they'll be looking for you.
That's true.
The patient themselves will be looking all the time to see if you're coming in. So our nurses in diaspora, you're doing great. Like my friend said, some of you are in a nurses association. Whoever can get in, get in. And whatever all of you can do to make sure that we revive
our healthcare system.
Make it more accommodating and a little bit a home for the sick. That would be wonderful. All right, so my friend, you got
to cap it all, we thank all of you for everything that you're doing all over the world. We thank you so much, and I think it's time for us to bring it home. We heard about the crisis. We pray that this crisis will be over with the coronavirus. We thank the ones that are working so hard, even in the hospital, and then the ones that will be doing so many other things every other place. But please, if you can collectively head home to help rebuild the healthcare system in Africa. And then if you can't be home, you can also, like I said, donate to others that are traveling. Help them even with their flight tickets and everything. Help them whatever you can provide. Like we said, it's almost like a missionary walk. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be a missionary to travel to a place. No. People that are home can also donate towards helping others that are traveling. So whatever you can do, to sponsor a nurse or buy healthcare equipment, whatever you can to help so that we can revive our healthcare system in Africa. So that's our topic today, and that's our insights, and that's our advice. So thank you once again for watching us, and continue to watch us at our Sweet Home Africa, where we will continue to plead with other professionals so that we can all head home to rebuild Africa.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's
so
possible.
much. Yes.
It's possible. We all
Yes.
got to get together.
That's true.
And get it done.
That's true.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Yes, so do not forget. So
Yes.
we say what? Subscribe, subscribe,
Subscribe,
subscribe. And thanks for all the comments that you sent to us. We are going to get to each and every one that have a question that we have not reached out to. So we're going to have patience with us, bear with us, all right? As you watch us, may God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank you, thank you.
Be blessed. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Thank you so very much.